Alright, so today we're going to go over unit rate worksheet notes. We're going to go through the worksheet together mainly. Alright, so let's start by talking about ratios. So this would be 8 hours. We're going to assume H means hours. So this is 8 hours right here, and then times by $9. This sign right here, I want you to think of it as per. So when you see that, I want you to think about it as per this chapter. Per hour. So I'm going to, these H's are going to, so I'm going to multiply. So these H's are going to cancel out because this is technically 8H over 1, and there's an H in the top and H in the bottom. So then I take 8 times 9, which is 72, and then we still have this label here, dollars. So $72 would be the answer here. Moving on, okay, there's a pounds on the top and a pounds on the bottom, so those cancel out, and then I have 8 over 1, so 8 times 350, and if you do that, you can use a calculator, you get 28, and then the pounds are canceled out, so the only label we have now is dollars, so $28. Okay, here, okay, so on this one you have 29 over 2, and it's multiplied by 60 over 1, right, or just 60. These seconds cancel out because there's a seconds in the top and seconds in the bottom, so technically it's just 60 over 1. And then you could multiply this, and so it would be 29 halves times 60, which then, if you multiply that, you get 870, and then my only label left is megabytes. So as soon as you see a label on the top and a label on the bottom of the denominator, those can cancel out when you're multiplying. Okay, so hours, right? So technically, I'm just doing 3/4 times 19 and 1/4. So I'm going to take my 3/4 and I'm just going to 3/4 times by 19 and then 1/4. So I'm going to go ahead and just plug this in my calculator, and you end up with 57, and then my only label left is miles. So technically this was 19 miles per 1/4 hour, and this was 3/4 hours. Alright. Moving on, so write the ratio as a fraction in simplest form. So the ratio is 25 to 45. So a ratio is something compared to something else. So the ratio here is 25 to 45. It doesn't have a label, but we should know that a ratio is comparing two things. So it's 25 whatever to 45 whatevers. So I'm going to do it as a fraction. So 25, the top number goes on top, the second number goes on bottom. But it's as simple as form, so I have to divide out of 5, just like a fraction. You would divide out of 5, and you'd get 5 over 9. And that would be my answer of that one. Okay, going on. So same thing, this is 63 somethings to 28 somethings. So you have 63 over 28, and I know that 7 goes into both of them, so I'm going to divide out of 7. Divide out of 7, I get 9 over 4. A lot of people here will probably want to make this a mixed number, but you cannot because it's comparing two different things. It's not a fraction. It's comparing 9, maybe it's 9 boys to 4 girls, okay? Okay, if we keep on moving on, we're just doing ratios. So 35 girls, which goes on top, over 15 boys. And then we have to reduce it, simplify it just like before. So I'm going to divide by 5 up top, divide by 5 on bottom. I will get 7 over 3. And that is my answer. Yes, I could technically make it a mixed number, but this is not a fraction. This is comparing two different quantities. Okay, same thing. So I have 51 over 9, correct to incorrect. And 51... 3 goes into 51, so we're going to divide by 3 because 3 goes into 9 also. So 51 divided by 3 is 17. 9 divided by 3 is 3, so my answer is going to be 17 thirds. Keep on going. So 16 dogs to 20 or 12 cats, and then we have to reduce it. So what goes into 16 and into 12? 4. So let's divide by 4. Divide by 4. We get 4 over 3. There is my answer as a ratio, 4 to 3. So every 4 cats, or at 4 dogs, there are 3 cats. Alright, this one looks scary, but, so we put 2 1/3, just like we did before. This is called a complex fraction, but I don't like, and we don't like complex fractions when we have a fraction within a fraction. It just makes things messier. So what we're going to do is this line right here, right, that line right there just means to divide. So it means to divide, so I'm going to take 2 1/3, divided by 4 1/2. Technically, you can you could do the skip, flip, multiply, right? Make it improper, and then skip the first one, keep it the same, flip the next one, and then multiply. Or you can go ahead and put it in your calculator, and either way is okay. If I put it in the calculator, you get 14 to 27. So 14 feet to 27 feet would be my answer. 14 to 27. Alright, so now we're moving on to unit rate. So unit rate is about how much it is for one. You did learn unit rates in 6th grade, but unit rates means the amount for one. So to find the unit rate, you're going to want 1 in the denominator. So I have 180 miles. I'm going 3 hours. So I'm going to take 180. So like the unit rate would be asking, how many miles am I going per 1 hour? So in order to do that, I have to take my 180 miles and divide it by my 3 hours. 180 divided by 3 is 60. So I am going 60 miles per hour. Remember that line right here means per. Okay, so unit rates actually have 2 labels. We have to remember that. So it has miles and it has hour. So it's 60 miles per 1 hour technically. Okay. Alright, next one. So then I have 256 miles per 8 gallons. So to find how much it is per 1 gallon, I'm going to take 256 miles per 8 gallons. And then if I divide 256 divided by 8, you'll get 32. That's 32 miles per gallon. Okay. Remember this line means per, and it has miles on top, gallon on bottom. Okay. Same thing here, so I have $9.60 per 4 pounds. We're trying to find for 1 pound. I'm going to take $9.60 divided by 4, and you get 2.4, but that's technically $2.40 per 1 pound. So I don't need to put the 1 because we're finding the unit rate, but per pound is fine. Okay. Alright, keep on going. Number 20, same thing. So $4.80. We're trying to find how much it costs per can. Divided by 6 cans. So when I do that, I get 0.80 cents. So it's 80 cents per can. Okay, that's how you would read it when you divide. Okay, let's keep on going. 297 words divided by 5.5 minutes. So grab out your handy dandy calculator if you need it. 297 divided by 5.5, which gives you 54, and that's 54 words per minute. Okay. So now this is a fraction, so technically we're doing the same thing. 21 3/4 meters per 2.5 hours. So you can either go ahead and write it out, 21 3/4 divided by 2.5, and then do the skip, flip, multiply, or you can type in your calculator and you get 8.7 meters per 1 hour. So per hour. Okay, so unit rate, think of unit. Unit means 1. Unit means you want 1 of something. So you're trying to find the rate per 1 hour or per 1 minute or whatever it's asking. Okay, all right, moving on. Now we're going to go ahead and talk about a couple word problems before we go on. At 1 p.m. you have 24 megabytes of a movie. At 1:15 p.m. you have 96 megabytes. What is your download rate? So rate, we're trying to find rate in megabytes per minute. So that's giving you your hint. So megabytes, and we're wanting per, remember that means that line, per minute. So we want the megabytes per 1 minute. So we started off with 24 megabytes, and now we're at 96 megabytes. So we need to find how many megabytes came between that time. So I'm going to take 96 minus 24. These are megabytes, right? Okay, and then in minutes, we go from 1 o'clock to 1:15. So that's 15 minutes that elapsed, right? Okay, so if I do 96 minus 24, you should get 72, and then 72 over 15, right? So 72 megabytes over 15 minutes. So we do like we did before, so 72 divided by 15. And then you get 4.8, and we gotta label it megabytes per minute. So that would be my answer for that problem. Okay. Alright, so number 26. If it is 5 p.m. and someone is flying from Dallas, Texas to Hays, Kansas, how fast would the plane have to fly to get the person to Hays by 6 p.m.? What kind of rate are you solving? So from 5 to 6 p.m., how many hours? Let's talk about it in hours. How many hours are in? So here we kind of want to talk about miles. We're talking about how many miles it's going per hour. So that's kind of the rate we're trying, so per and then hour. That's kind of the rate we're looking at, okay? And we know the miles is 528 miles, okay? And then per hour, which we already have, 5 to 6 would be 1 hour, right? So it's already in miles per hour. If you want to, you can go ahead and divide it and write it as 528 miles per hour. What kind of rate did we just get or have? Talking about 1 hour, right? So it's the unit rate. When you're talking about 1, it would be the unit rate that we're talking about, okay? So one of them is 1, we're talking about the unit rate. So it's 528 miles per hour. And we are talking about the unit rate because we're trying to get how many it is in, how many miles we have to go in 1 hour is what we figured out, okay? One of the biggest things to take away today is that when you see the word per, you should think divide. So when you see the word per, it means to divide, or it means the fraction bar. And so the fraction bar means to divide. So when you divide, you find the unit rate. So when earlier we talked about ratios, you don't have to divide. You can compare 25 girls to 15 boys. But you have to simplify. But when it comes to unit rate, you want it to be per one thing. So you have to divide to get it in that formula. All right, that is the unit rate worksheet.